And the key functionality of Vinchin backup and recovery including five main modules. The first one is VM backup and VM restore and VM instant restore and file level restore and backup copy. In the next slides, I will show you one by one. Firstly, using Vinchin, you can realize the agentless backup, which you don't need to install any apps in your VM OS. Uh, Instead, you can just backup and restore your virtual machine through the hypervisor layer. And by this way, you can faster deploy your environments, maybe 100%, 100 faster than the legacy backup. And you can reduce your administrative cost and the resource consumption as well, and very fast backup and restore large numbers of VMs because you don't need to install any agents on each VM. In this way, for large environments, it's agentless is very useful and necessary. And you can use Vinchin to make your smart strategies for backup and restore jobs, including you can backup and restore VMs in batches. You can backup multiple VMs in one job at the same time and also restore them in one job at the same time. And also you can select the virtual disk deep inside the virtual machine to do backup. If you have multiple virtual disks, you can select which one you want to backup, which one you don't want to backup. So, and also you can use the retention policy inside the Vinchin server to schedule to reserve your backups by number of days or number of points. For example, if I want to reserve my backup points, restore points for 30 days, I can just I can just use Vinchin Web Console to make the schedule. And also using Vinchin, you don't need to worry about the data security because Vinchin uses the encryption, bank grade AES encryption to secure the transfer of the VM backups. Also, job schedule, as I mentioned, set time schedule for backup and restore to keep the job running repeatedly. And using Vinchin also can help you save your backup storage space. Here I have mentioned three main functions that Vinchin supports: the deduplication, compression, and the bit detector. Sorry. Okay. Deduplication and compression, I think most of you have ever heard of it because most of the backup vendors, they can support these two functions. And using Vinchin deduplication and compression, you can make sure your compression ratio at least 30% to 50%. But if you continue to use a bit detector, which is self-developed by Vinchin, using bit detector, you can skip your swap files and unpartition space deep inside the OS of each VM to get this unnecessary data. Do not backup. So this part can help you save more backup storage. Together with the three functions, you can at least make your data backup size reduced more than 50%. I will show you in the demo later that actually the ratio is more than 50%. And of course, we can improve your backup speed by using some special features. The first one I would like to mention is the LAN free. Using LAN free can transfer data from production storage to backup storage, and without affecting the production network workloads. Okay, so this is one advanced feature that Vinchin supports. And also for VMware, we can support CPT, and for other hypervisors, which don't provide CBT feature to the backup vendors. So we, Vinchin self-developed a new feature which we call the Speed Kit. We use it to replace the absence of a CBT for other hypervisors, using it to increase the computing speed of change data when doing incremental backup, so that using Vinchin to do incremental backup can be very faster than other backup solutions. This is another highlight feature that I would like to mention you. So Vinchin also can do instant VM recovery as well. This is a very general and I think very common feature that most of the virtual machine backup vendor can provide, and Vinchin also can do it. Using Vinchin instant VM recovery, you can get your TB size VM restart in 15 seconds, and 100% business recovery in 2 minutes. And you can use Vinchin to quickly verify the data availability. Uh, as you can see from here, for example, I have a data center here, and if I back up some virtual machines from the production area, I can just restore it to an isolation area, which is isolated from the production area. So I recover it to the isolated area, then I can see whether the data is available, whether this virtual machine is fully recovered, any damage, any faults, any faults or any failure. So using this feature, you can quickly verify the data availability. And also you can restore a virtual machine from any time points in the past. And also this feature is applied to all the Vinchin supported hypervisors firmware except Hyper-V. Hyper-V not yet support the instant VM recovery, but in the near future we will going to support this feature for Hyper-V as well. Okay, after you instantly recover the VM, you can just migrate the virtual machine to your production system, to your production environment, so that all the new data that's you written in the instantly restored VM can be all the data can be also transferred to the production storage. So no data loss for if any failure to the VM. Okay. And also, as I mentioned, we can support the file level granular recovery. After you back up your virtual machine to Vinchin backup and recovery system, and you can see the restore points stored in the backup storage, and then you granular recover them to by using Vinchin Web Console, and you can just download the files inside the folder from the web browser. So that's how Vinchin granular recovery works. And you can restore any single file from any restore points. And it applies to all Vinchin supported hypervisors. And also this feature is compatible with Windows, Red Hat, CentOS, and all the popular OS that Vinchin can support. And this feature is another new feature that we just released at October last year, which is site disaster recovery via backup copy. Using this feature, you can realize off-site disaster recovery. Uh, for example, I have a backup my virtual machine in my primary site's Vinchin backup and recovery system. Okay, I want to copy this backup file via internet to my offsite remote site. And at the remote site, I also have installed one Vinchin backup and recovery. So I copy this backup file to my offsite Vinchin backup and recovery, and then I have a remote copy of my primary site's data, right? Then if my primary site is damaged, I can just recover this VM using the remote copy to the remote production system. This is we call offsite disaster recovery. And if your primary site is still working, and I want to just pull back the remote copy back to my primary site, I can just transfer it from my remote Vinchin backup server to my on-site Vinchin backup server, and uh, just recover this virtual machine to my primary site's production environment. This is we call DR back, disaster recovery back. And also beside that, if we don't have any remote sites with any production environments, but only have one remote storage, for example, like NAS, okay, then we can just also copy the backup file via internet to my remote storage. So you have a remote copy too as well. And if your primary site's VM crash, you can just send back the remote copy too back to your primary sites and recover the VM to your primary site production environment. So this is how to use Vinchin backup copy to realize the DR site DR, no matter it's primary site DR or remote site DR. By using Vinchin for large environments, for example, which have multiple clusters. Here I give an example of a VMware. For example, I have three VMware clusters. Then using one Vinchin backup and recovery maybe is too much, too heavy workload for the production environment. So we recommend customer to set up multiple backup nodes. For example, here we have showed you three Vinchin backup and recovery, three nodes. The first one is master, the second and third one is slave. We call it slave node. So we connect each node with each node to each cluster, okay, and back up each cluster's virtual machines to each node, Vinchin node, and all the Vinchin nodes can be centrally managed and controlled by the master nodes via a Vinchin web console. So this is very easy to manage and help to distribute the workload of each cluster. And also all the backup nodes can support different repository storage type. Here I have writing here like local disk partition, logical volume, and FC, ISCAS, and FS, and CIFS. Currently, Vinchin supports all of these storage type as backup repository. So by using deploying Vinchin in this way, for large environments, we can cover the business and make sure the business continuity by using Vinchin different backup nodes. So this is the new dashboard of the new version 5 of Vinchin. Using this web console, we can very easily and fast to do backup, restore, and all the functionalities that Vinchin can support. In the next, I will show you a brief introduction of this web console so you can better understand how it works and what features it can cover.